So I'm just letting you know.
Okay, it's 6:30. We're gonna call this meeting to order. This is a public meeting, planning and zoning, Butte County. Oh, I'd get the recording on first. Thank you for coming. No. No. I think we're sufficiently recorded. Okay. The first item is anybody that wants to speak will be able to speak sometime tonight. It's going to be a while if we give everybody a chance to speak. I'm going to do this orderly. I'm not going to talk over you. And I'm not going to argue with you. We're impartial. We're here to hear what you have to say so you can create the record. And the record is what we will go off from. Whatever you say, including the applicants and the public. So we'll start this hearing. So
There's some questions. Are there time limits?
there will be. Yeah, we will. In order to get everybody in, we will ask you to hold the 3 minutes. Now, when you first stand up, please state your name and your address, and then tell us your business. How you feel, against or for, or impartial, and then raise your questions. Just because is not a reason. We need valid reasons for and against, so that it's fair to everybody. And so I'll go through and I'll repeat some of this because it's in the literature. And so I'm going to start off with the rules. The purpose of a public hearing is to give everyone an opportunity to offer their views and provide evidence in support of those views. This body of opinion and evidence creates the record upon which the decision makers rely for their findings and conclusion. Opinions expressed and evidence offered off the record cannot be accepted because they may impair the fairness of the decision-making process. Your cooperation in keeping this process fair and orderly will be appreciated. And the rules follow. The first thing will be the commission chairman, which is me. My name's Randy Purser. I'll ask all of the committee members if they have a conflict of interest. And when they do, if they state their name and whether they have conflict of interest. And so, Brian, you want to start?
Brian O'Kelly, I have no conflict of interest.
Ann Loca Marcino, I have no conflict.
Jonathan Kamick, I have no conflict.
You need to speak up louder.
We can't hear you back here. We're a bunch of old people, can't hear very well, so
Yeah,
what can I say?
we'll try and do the best we can. I have no conflict of interest.
Tom Darland, no
On
conflict.
louder, Tom.
Tom Darland, no conflict.
Matt Nelson, no conflict.
Mike Hansen, no conflict.
Okay. We ask that all testimony and questions be addressed through the chairman. To offer testimony, please raise your hand when recognized by the chairman. Rise, give your name and address. If applicable, give the name of the organization or group of people you are representing. Then present your testimony. The commission reserves the right to limit testimony and prohibit repetitive testimony. So it'll get to be a point tonight, sometime, where everything that can be said has been said. And so you can just say, stand up, give your name, your address, for or against, and say, I agree with so-and-so, what they said. We're not gonna allow you to repeat the same thing over and over again. It may be requested that some only agree with what has already been said. In the interest of time, the testimony will not be allowed to be repeated several times. Everyone will be given an opportunity to speak. Remind everybody, if you want to speak, you need to have signed up on one of those 3 sheets. And even if you do sign, you can always decline later. Doesn't mean you have to testify, but you have to sign up in order to have the opportunity to testify. So, we'll go through the procedures. The Commission Chair will explain the procedures and rules as we follow. We'll start off with the applicant. They'll do a short presentation, what they want to do. And so there's some misconfusion here tonight. This hearing is to rule on a conditional use permit. This is not a hearing to rule to allow for a subdivision or to build anything. This only allows to have manufactured homes in a manufactured park in the county, which is not an allowed practice. So that's what we're here to talk about. But the questions are a lot of the same. The questions and answers will be a lot similar. So, also, this committee makes whatever they decide, and we don't have to decide tonight. We have 45 days to decide. Sometimes we decide and sometimes we don't. Depends on how it ends up, the testimony. And if there needs to be time for more information or study, but whatever we decide, we refer, is just a referral to the county commissioners. County commissioners hold the last vote. They're the ones that decide. This is just a preamble to that. So we'll start with the applicant when it comes time. And then we'll go to we'll call for written testimony. And has there been any written testimony submitted? No written testimony submitted, so we'll skip that. Then we'll start with persons wishing to offer testimony in favor of the application, other than the applicants. And we'll go off of those sheets, whatever is on those sheets. Testimony in favor of the application, do so at this time after being recognized by the chairman. The commissioners may ask questions of the witnesses. The commission chairman will call for testimony of those uncommitted on the application. The uncommitted are those neither in favor of the application nor opposed to the application. We have a question about the application. And then the commissioners can ask questions of the witnesses. So we ask when you testify, if you have a question, that you voice your question in your testimony. And then at the end, these gentlemen will speak again, and they will answer those questions if they so wish to do so. And so as we go through the night, there'll be a lot of those questions get answered. And then we'll come to the committee chair will call for testimony of those against the application. And then the board can question the testimony of those people. And then the last piece is the hearing and then we'll close the hearing. There'll be no further testimony offered. No one may address the commission at this time. This is after everybody's spoken. And it's not required to receive that a decision be reached at the meeting, but will be reached as soon as possible. So, okay. With that, that's the rules we'll follow. We appreciate your patience and we're gonna take a stab, try to get through everybody. So we'll start with applicants. So, you wanna introduce yourself?
Sure.
And
Do you want us to address the commission or both? Or?
You should address me.
Okay. And is there a mic or just talk?
No, just talk loud.
Okay. And do you want us to stay seated or stand?
No, you want to stand if you want.
I gotta stand.
Is there a clicker for the?
I got a
you can
space
just
bar.
use the space.
There's that.
There's a wireless one.
No, that's great. Okay.
There you go. So my name is Aaron Adams. This is my business partner, Jen Rammel. We're from, and we'll be happy to put my email, send you this whole presentation, so that anyone who'd like to have a copy of the presentation, there's not very many slides. It's pretty simple. We own Slate Mountain Homes. It's a manufactured home dealership based in Pocatello. I live in Idaho Falls near Shelley. Jed lives in Idaho Falls as well. Jed is from Southeast Idaho. I'm not. We've been business partners. We've owned the dealership for about 5 years. We've been doing manufactured homes on permanent foundations. We've done manufactured home communities. And we've done RV parks, RV communities as well. Appreciate the turnout tonight. We do not own the KOA, Creators of the Moon. We just have a contract with the owner to buy it. And we didn't want to buy it until we knew what the sentiment was for development. And so if the decision is that there's no development that's wanted, then we don't even lose our earnest money on the project. We'll happily write off the time we spent putting this application together, and because we don't want to be in a small community where we're not wanted. Does that make sense? And with no hard feelings, we'll happily back out and not move forward. That being said, I want to show you a project that we're completing in Blackfoot as an example of what we think this project potentially could be. This was an old trailer park on Broadway in Blackfoot, Idaho, just a few miles from here. There was an adjacent vacant lot. It had 13 old trailers in it, and we bought it several years ago. We went to the city of Blackfoot. They said, we don't have enough affordable housing, we don't have enough rental housing. It's stunting the growth. There's nothing for people to rent here in Blackfoot. We have businesses that want to hire. We don't have affordable housing. And we'd also like homes that people can buy down the road. So listening to what they said, they gave us permission to take this vacant lot and this mobile home park and to develop it. This was an aerial view before. You can see to the right the vacant lot that was there. And you can see it was an old trailer park, like what you would imagine every stereotype of a trailer park. Old single wides, overgrown, junky cars. It was not a nice community. It was an eyesore in Blackfoot. City was not happy with the crime. The city was not happy with it. And our goal was not to put lipstick on the pig. We wanted to completely redo it and make a nice community of affordable housing. We put together a plan that you can see incorporated the vacant lot and the existing structures. One of the things that we did that was unique with the plan was we don't allow parking adjacent to the homes. We don't want the cars on blocks. We don't want people doing, leaving abandoned cars. We actually had designed it to have a green space in the middle. We designed it to have front porches for all the homes. We understand that affordable housing still has to be affordable for the owner, but it doesn't have to be trashy. It doesn't have to be a war zone. And that was something that we worked with Blackfoot on in terms of green space. These are the homes that our dealership in Pocatello is with Fleetwood. These homes were built in Boise at the manufacturing facility with Fleetwood. They're 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes. They have a side entrance on one side, they have an entrance on the other side, and then they have a front porch that comes out of either the office or the master bedroom. We did a varying color scheme for each one of the homes because we didn't want it to look like a man camp or a FEMA camp after a hurricane or a flood. And you can see from the interior finishes, they're not the cheapest trailers that Fleetwood makes. But they're affordable enough that as we rent them out, they can work for us as developers as well. If you want to click on each of the videos and just make sure that TV's probably muted.
Today's Monday, September 18th. Busy week.
We should go to might be a little bit small for it, but you should be able to just click them all concurrently and not play. Yeah. It's showing up on. That's okay. We can just kind of. We can send you a copy of the presentation, but it's video from the last couple of weeks from the project. We're in the final phase of development. The homes are all about set. Everything's brand new. We ran new sewer, new water, new power, curb and gutter, put road in, and we're at the final stage for leasing. The city of Blackfoot's been really happy with it. The adjacent business owners, the residents were happy with it. We worked with them to get to a plan that we were happy with, and so it's been a very good project. The city of Blackfoot, the county surrounding, would love for us to do more projects. We actually just bought an RV park, a second property in Blackfoot that we're utilizing as well. We've earmarked a portion of it for longer term tenants who are able to put their RVs there and do month-to-month leases with us, as well as we've kept part of that RV park for your traditional night, weekend, holiday, RV, in and out type person. Blackfoot's been happy with that as well. Because Blackfoot's biggest problem is they don't have affordable housing, and it's hard for a smaller community to attract that from a developer, and so it's limiting the growth of their businesses, it's limiting their growth across the board. No. There you go.
Right there.
So, several months ago we noticed that the KOA here in town was listed on the market to sell. We went back and forth with the current owner, and we have a contract to buy it. That contract has a condition that says if we can't get approval to potentially develop this further, because there's land that's not being used, that we don't have to buy it and we don't lose our earnest money. For us, we don't want to come into a community that isn't excited with what the type of project we're doing. We don't want to fight with county commissioners or city planning. We don't want to misrepresent. You know, other investors might buy this project and then try to get this approved. That's not what we did here. And because we knew that there would be opinions, and clearly there are. So one of the things that, so the big picture that our thought is that we would request the development be in phases. We think there's potential to have 75 homes there and expand the footprint of the RV park from 50 to maybe another 50 spaces to have both a bigger RV and an adjacent manufactured home community on that land. But that's not what we're asking for. We understand that the community and the board might want to start small, and if we could get approval to put 20 homes in initially, that's all we're asking for. We're not saying we want permission to do up to 100 homes. We'll start with 20. We're 100% comfortable with only having permission to build 20 homes, and if a year from now or 18 months from now, the community and the board decided they didn't want further development, we're happy to keep it as a KOA with 20 homes. We felt like 20 homes was the minimum number that it made sense for us to keep this project. And full disclosure, if there's zero desire for growth, then we won't buy the KOA. We've told the seller that if we can't get any permission for any development, then we'll step back from the deal and we'll find another community that's more interested in the growth. So that's full disclosure from our part. We're not going to try to force a round peg in a square hole. Does that make sense? Phase one would be to upgrade the service. We would do that this fall on the KOA. There's 30 amp service meters. They're not individually metered. We would upgrade all of them to 50 amps and individually meter them. That's all that will be done this fall. But we would try to attract some winter tenants at the KOA to the existing KOA. We've had feedback from the current owner that he had put some winter residents in there before, but the power bills killed him. And so we would individually meter them and upgrade the service to 50 amp. That's the only thing that would be done this year. Next spring, we would plan on doing the development on the 20 home community. You can see that map is there to the right. And then assuming that was well received, then we would map out and do the phase 3, which would be to either expand both the KOA and add homes, or add homes, whichever made more sense. There's the superimposed 20 home community adjacent to the existing park. So if you're facing the RV park. We would develop one road down the middle with 20 homes facing the frontage road. There's city sewer there, so we wouldn't do septic. There's power, there's a transformer there on site, so we felt like there's plenty of power. It wouldn't be a lot to add that component. And we would put 20 brand new homes in. So we wouldn't just put the park and then try to attract old trailers to move in. We would actually put in 20 meters, put in utilities for 20, and then we would put 20 brand new homes in, just like we did in Blackfoot. Those homes would be offered as rentals. We're anticipating somewhere between $1,250 and $1,500 a month. That was the best data that we could get on what a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home rents for. Obviously, there's not a lot to rent here in this community. I've heard, people staying at motels who there's just not a lot of rentals. There's not a lot of affordable homes. One of the things that's unique about this that we've done in Blackfoot is we've left the option open because each one of these homes is deeded individually. And so in Blackfoot, if we have a long-term tenant that's a good tenant, as park owners, we will sell them the home and finance it for them. That's something we've done in communities in Kansas City that I own, in Charlotte, in Indianapolis. And so it's been a good thing in those communities because we're not trying to keep people in affordable housing as long-term renters. They take better care of the manufactured home community. When they are homeowners, we don't want all renters. Over time, we would identify those that are going to be there long-term and can afford to, and we'll actually sell them the home. So not only are we creating affordable rental housing communities, we're also creating a path to home ownership for a lot of those residents that normally wouldn't have that. And that's something that we're very proud about because they're not beat up old trailers either. These are nice homes. Once they've proven to us that they'll take care of it and that they're good with their bills and that they're a good member of that community, we act as the bank for them and we finance those homes to them. And so that's something that's been a very good aspect of this. This is the only thing that we would be asking for permission from initially. We wouldn't try to backdoor any further expansion. If this was well received, if the community was okay with it, then we would go through the steps to put together a plan to either expand the RV park and add some additional homes or to add additional homes. Any discussion, I feel like, or Q&A related to that, I understand that there's some wetland issues. I understand that there would be engineering required. But we haven't done that homework because we know that wouldn't be part of this scope of work. We're not asking for that. We wouldn't try to do the engineering on that. We understand that that would be a whole big thing that we'd have to pay for, engineer, and come up with a plan for that. We haven't done that because we're not asking for that. We think that that would be too big of a bite for the community to accept, and we'd rather come in and show with 20 homes that we can be good citizens, that we can be a part of this development community, and it could be a good thing. If we felt comfortable with this community, we're in a position to also develop third half 1 acre lots and put brand new homes on permanent foundations. That's something we've done in towns as small as Roberts. That's something that we've done in Idaho Falls. That's something that we're doing across the country. And somebody asked me, well, why don't you just come in and do one of those communities? Because there's less profit for that, especially if you don't know what stuff will sell for and what the demand is. And so from us, we see this as potentially about a $5 million project. And if we can't make it pencil, then we'll happily step aside and not do anything here. So hopefully you understand kind of what our perspective is on it. Understand that we don't own the project, that we're not asking for it as an owner, that we're coming in saying, here's what we're thinking. If there's a way we can come together on it where it makes sense for us and it makes sense for the community, we're happy to do that. And if that's not the case, we understand that as well.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question from the commission.
I don't have any this time.
So there's some misinformation going around. One is that it's subsidized housing.
No, but it's not subsidized housing. We call it affordable housing because there's no affordable housing here that we can see or that we've seen. We wouldn't I own 7 management companies across the country, and we're managing 3,100 properties. We actually don't work with Section 8. We don't work with, sometimes we'll buy a property that has subsidized rent housing. That's not what we would do. We would rather work with fair market rent, fair market tenant. We don't generally work with, I would say of the 31 properties that we have 16 that are,
3,100.
I'm sorry, of the 3,100 properties that we're managing, we have less than 0.5% that are subsidized housing programs. So that's not part of this business plan. That's not part of our business model in general. So we'd rather work fair market rate, fair market tenants, and focus on, we call it affordable because it's in what we think would be the bottom half of the rent rates in this community. That would make it be affordable, even though for some of you, you're thinking $1,400-1,500 doesn't sound affordable to me. You know, as we've done homework on what a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedrooms renting for here, there's not a lot under $800 or $900 a month anywhere for rent. And that's like where 1-bedrooms seem to start. And we've seen, you know, stuff $1,700, $2,000, $2,500 for whole houses to rent. There's just not a lot. And so, yeah, there wouldn't be any plans for government subsidized rent of any kind with this. We don't do generally that type of housing.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commission?
Are you gonna have any covenants on
Speak
this?
a little louder.
Are you gonna have any covenants on this?
Yeah, so generally in the communities that we have, we do covenants in terms of mostly regulating the residents themselves by starting out with them as renters as opposed to individual homeowners. It gives us a lot of control because we don't want to finance a home to someone that doesn't take care of their property or that causes problems. And so, but because we always start out as a full rental community, we usually don't phase that in until we start selling them. In the case of this, we usually wouldn't start that till like the 36-month mark, so that wouldn't be part of our initial plan, but we'd be open to that, and we could show you examples of covenants we've used in other communities.
Good. Thank you. No other questions from the commission? Okay, have a seat. We'll start with them committed. First one is Vicki Rainey.
I just signed in because I was there and I was one of the first ones here, so
Okay.
I'm still non-committed.
Ken,
I think I do have one question. So
would you
guys
step
don't-
up here, please?
Yes, thank you.
Speak loud.
So one of the things that I was wondering is, you wouldn't sell to a government to lease,
No.
and so do secondary.
Right.
So would you state your address for the record, please,
555 South Water Street, 25.
in Arco?
Yeah, we wouldn't sell to government. We do all of our own local management. We don't outsource the management. So we would be the point of contact.
Hold it, Bert.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's addressing me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, okay, thank you. Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Okay, Ken E. Davis,
I just signed in because I thought we were supposed to sign in.
that's fine.
I'm just,
Do you want to decline?
yeah.
Okay. Bert Seacrest.
For the record,
Here's your address, Bert.
I reside at 3042 West, 2400 North, Arco. You also asked if we were, to state whether we were opposed or for this thing. My personal opinion is I think that would be a detriment to the community, so therefore I am opposed to it. A couple of questions I would like to have is, one is, where would the infrastructure, especially water and sewage, be obtained from? And I'm assuming you're hoping for City of Arco. The other question I have is, where would we come up with all these people that would occupy up to 70 homes here in this community? I don't believe that there are that many people here available. They'd have to be brought in from somewhere else. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Christy McCurdy.
Hi, I'm Christy McCurdy. I live at 212 Dolores Avenue in Arco, Idaho, and I agree wholeheartedly with Bert Seacrest.
Okay. Leila Whitehead. We're guessing. Yes, you are here.
Yes, I am here.
Okay.
Okay, my question is, what are we gonna do with electricity and our sewer and our water system? We're having trouble with our electricity, which is gonna be REA, their old system. The water system is not working very well, and neither is our sewer, so why would we want to have new homes come in here and take all of that? I don't agree with it at all.
Okay, give us your address.
2363 North, 3060 West, Arco, Idaho.
Okay. Thank you. Janice Maynard.
I was just undecided about for or against, so I just put my name down for that.
Give us your address.
2979 West, 2400 North, Arco.
Thank you. Dan McCurdy.
Danny McCurdy, I live at 305 East Era, Arco. My question and concerns already been asked, so I'll wait to hear the answers.
Okay. Bobby Reese.
Yes, my questions have already been.
Stand, please.
Bobby Reese, I'm at 330 South Idaho Street, and my questions have also been asked.
Okay.
So we're still struggling with being able to hear. Oh, we got a microphone now.
Yeah, let's put it on the podium. Here, please put it on the podium.
My questions have already been asked.
There's still a couple chairs up front here if you want to come in. Dan.
Who lives at 219 Arco Avenue?
Dan Olson.
219 Arco, Idaho.
Who is it?
Dan Olson.
Jason Olson.
He said he's good.
Okay. Where is he?
19 Arco Avenue, I agree with everyone else.
All right, good. Joy Olson? Is that right?
I agree with that.
No, it's his dad.
We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Boone Barnes. Are you not in here, buddy?
He's not here. Does this thing work? Nope. Check. Nope. Yep. Hello? Nope. Okay. Boone Barnes, 2981 Interstate Avenue. Hi, guys. I've been a realtor here for 23 years. And so I definitely see the need for something. Okay? The market here is way different than anywhere you guys have experienced. So, one thing about it is that, let me say this. Okay, thank you. What you got, okay, so the rent factor, $1,500. Okay, that's for a new home, that's about what you can expect, you're accurate there. Okay, what we're gonna run into here is that when you bring those in and they're this close together, like you projected, I believe that
Everyone that I deal with that wants to rent a place, there is no rentals, but they want to be out. They want to have space. They don't want to be next to anybody. And that's a common thing here. Also, I worry about the future, obviously. 10 years, 15 years, 20 years as these deteriorate. You've mentioned seller financing. What happens if you guys go under? I mean, it could happen, correct? So what happens at that point with these if your business crashes and burns? That's so I live in the proximity of it, and it makes me nervous. What could happen? Who could pick it up? Could the government be involved at that time? This is a little community. We all live here. We all have really, really strong opinions and really strong ties to our home. And I'm glad you guys introduced this because it helped me a lot, so I didn't have to worry so much about. And I liked what you said, but I do have so many concerns. And I just think that you're going to have to deal with the fair slough. It's whether it's dry or not. Where you have those homes, it's right at a slough. Sorry, Randy. Anyways, so where they have the homes, there's sloughs. Harvey Walker I'm surprised he's not here, but he would have some good things to say about this. Anyways, I just see a need, but I don't think that this is what's going to fill it. I think there's an alternate. And I don't know what that is, but I think we as a community need to figure that out, don't you guys? Yeah.
Okay, Donna Murray?
232 Chalice Avenue, Arco. I agree with everybody else.
Teresa Cheney?
Teresa Cheney, 44080 Bond Street, Arco, for the last 38 years. I also am concerned about the city water and sewer. There's a sewer issue on our street. We've had sewage come up into our basement until we put in a valve that closes off when it backs up. I saw temporary housing when I had papers from the planning and zoning office. And I first thought that maybe this was for INL trade, the electricians. Years ago, we had a whole lot of electricians that were working out there. Many lived in Arco. I too agree that we need housing. Affordable kind of hurt my feelings. I'm very involved with the food bank here, and I see people struggling to pay $5.95 rent for an efficiency apartment. So I'm still uncommitted. I'm willing to listen to what everyone else has to say. Thank you.
Tecla Staley?
Tecla Staley from Howe, and even though I don't live in this community, and can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I'm still in this county, and while I agree with a lot of what's being said, that we see in the paper all the time about sewer problems, electrical problems for the residents around here, where are those extra infrastructure projects going to come from? And what is that going to do to the tax base for all the residents of the county? I agree that I think $1,500 or even $1,250 is stretching it quite a bit for affordable. I'm trying to run a small business and I'm struggling with it because people just can't afford to do more than pay their rent and buy food and put gas in their car.
Right.
So,
thank you.
I think housing might be needed, but I agree, maybe something different.
Thank you. Mary Moses?
Mary Moses, I live at 3320 West, 3400 North. I came tonight to listen, to find out what was going on, and I'm really glad to know that it's not government subsidized. But the other factor that I'm concerned about is how is this going, excuse me, going to affect our EMTs, our fire, our police, our schools? We're kind of bursting at the seams there, and we're all volunteers, so I'm keeping an open mind, because I agree, we need something, some kind of affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Moses.
I live at 3320 West, 3400 North in Moore, and I'm kind of split. I think we need something. And the thing I liked about their suggestion was they were gonna start off at 20 and not 100. And so I think if 20 were put in, then you can know where to go. But I think more work needs to be done on the infrastructure before a decision is made. And what you're doing is you're putting the cart before the horse. Know what water you have, know what your sewer problems are, know what those infrastructure problems are, and then I think everybody can make a better decision.
Thank you. Rebecca Lang. I think that mic will work.
Let's see if it'll work. On, anyone hear it? I'll speak louder. Mr. Chairman.
It's on now.
It's working.
It's on now.
Mr. Chairman, my name's Rebecca Lang. I live
sir.
at 311 Lily Avenue in Arco. And I agree with all the statements said before, both pro and con, and the developer's presentation. Particularly the recent one about maybe the developer needs to look at what would really work here. Like some of us thought temporary housing, maybe we need temporary housing, more affordable. But my specific question is, I've heard and read about other communities developing local soil absorption systems for their own sewer infrastructure. And it seems like if that were a large enough development, that would be a consideration and maybe something the city needs to look at too, or even the county as a subdivision option. So I wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Ron Burkett.
Hi, Ron Parkett, 705 West Grand Ave, previous owner of Mountain View RV Park. I agree with a lot of what was said. I want to bring up a few things. I like that you're only going to propose a little bit.
Yep.
Everybody heard massive rumors, which frighten everybody. But a lot of it's reality. If it does grow, you don't have the people here in town that are going to rent these. People talk about bringing other people in. What about the burden on the school? What about the burden on, taxes? By being in the RV park, they can't be taxed. So you're not gonna have a whole bunch of new homeowners that the city can tax. They can only tax the RV park. Now, how much can you tax the RV park? Okay. That falls into a neat little loophole. And I'm just curious if it does grow, and if they do collapse, there's nothing keeping it from going federal. It's my own experience. I've seen it before. RV parks / mobile home parks, very popular, particularly in the south. Some of them have done very well. So I'm not saying it's a terrible idea. It's a very good idea if it's done very well without the option to go federal. But you got other things to consider. So I'm just gonna repeat everybody else's stuff. So thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Summers.
I live on 307 Louise Drive in Arco, Idaho. And I was just wondering if this will happen, if the roads are gonna get fixed.
That's a really good question.
I'm sorry, I live on and really bad for
Thank you.
potholes. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Mary Ann Noy?
Mary Ann Noy, I live at 434 Yvonne Street in Arco. I mostly came down here, like they've been saying, to get information and hear what they have to say, and I appreciated the comment that they wanted to start slow. Again, I think there's a lot of concerns that need to be addressed before we proceed. I don't want to repeat them all, so I'm committed.
That's the purpose of this hearing, for information. So that concludes all of them committed. So we're gonna ask for questions from the board, the commission, if any of the people that testified, if you have any questions you wanted to ask. Got off scot-free tonight. Good. Lost the agenda. There we go. Okay, we're gonna we'll go to testimony of those that are against the application. Judy Betzer.
I'm Judy Betzer. I live at 880 County Road, right across the street. Right across the street. I am 83 years old. My concern is the security that will bring if the housing gets bigger than 20. We do not have the security now that for our community, it's going to grow bigger. And the road traffic that goes up and down the road, will it be improved or will it be worsened? It will be worsened. And then the other thing is is it in the county or is it in the city? If it's in the county, will it be moved into the city, be adjacent to the city, be part of the city, and it will be annexed into the city?
Depends on which side of the road you're on.
I'm in the city.
Yes.
KOA is in the county.
Yes.
If it becomes housing, like the 20, even there's 7,200, whatever, will it be put into the city or will it still stay county?
Good question.
Oh, I am for growth of the city of Arco, but it should be done right and not hurriedly.
Okay, thank you. Kathleen Alstead?
No, I disagree with what all's been said, yes.
Give me your full address, please.
Arco, Idaho.
I need something more than that.
Okay, Arco Avenue.
Okay, great. Interpreter. Who was the third one to sign the?
Zartucci?
Hey, one above it.
Zartucci, you said it right.
Yeah, I know, but just give us a second here. There's somebody before you.
Okay.
That's not, they got writing like.
Who was the third one to sign the sheet? We cannot read your signature.
Starts with a K.
Kara.
Sure.
419 South Water Street, Arco, Idaho. I live right down the street from the school. My concern with all the new people in our county, if this was to go on, I don't feel safe for my autistic child to walk a block and a half to the school as it is now. How will it be having more people with a special needs child? I already feel unsafe as it is. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Zartucci, it's your turn.
George, right here, Zartucci, 304 North Water Street. And yeah, I'm against it because I said, I understand what you're doing, all that. Real estate, you don't build them houses, money and such. Look, I don't see what you're doing for the community itself, though, as far as the schools and everything else. I mean, all I see is what you're doing.
Chance Jurgensen. Did I pronounce that right?
You did. My name is Chance Jurgensen. I live at 3393 West, 3200 North and more. I don't know a lot of you guys. You've been a very welcoming community. I'm stationed at NRF and moved here. One of the things I would recommend that you evaluate is that being in the military, I get to be exposed to some psychological things. I think the aspect of bringing in a small number of homes is really just intended to desensitize the community to what could come next, and it's really not gonna, it's just to desensitize. It's not gonna improve anything or show any good standing. It's just gonna show that there's a next step and there's a next step and there's always more and always more to take and always more profit, but it's not really gonna help anybody. It's on a continuum. They call it the continuum of harm, and it's a little bit here, and we'll accept a little bit more, we'll accept a little bit more, and I think that's the tactic. It's not for good faith or anything like that.
Thank you. Taylor Pettit.
It's Taylor, it's a girl.
Say your name again?
Taylor Pettit.
Taylor Pettit. She may not want to not speak.
She's probably on.
Oh, she brought the mic in?
Yeah.
Yes, that's fine.
Never mind, skip.
Okay, she declines. Thomas Jarvis.
I live on 2976 West, 2400 North, so it's just down the street from where this development wants to go. Most of my concerns have already been stated. The biggest thing is $1,500 a month. There's very few people who live here who can afford that. So if we're trying to get INL people to move in the community, I think it's a good try, but most of the people that I know work out there, they want to live by a Walmart. So it's going to be a struggle to get those kind of people in here.
Yay.
So mostly I agree with what everybody else has said.
Thank you. Terry Williams.
I live at 2977 Interstate, right behind the KOA, and I do have a few questions. I'm confused, of course. If the KOA is in the county, do they have their own well? If they don't, why are they on the city well? Same with the sewer. So I don't understand. I'm very, very confused.
We'll answer that.
I know
tonight.
that's, I'm just stating my concerns.
Yeah.
And another thing I'm concerned about is they stated that they could possibly sell these houses to these grateful renters and everything. Who would wanna buy a house if they don't own the property? I mean, why would they wanna do that? And plus, I'm concerned about the traffic. We barely got the traffic under control on Sewer Road. It's gonna go ballistic again. And there's houses being built out there that are far apart, spaced far apart. Who's gonna buy them? Whoever's building them might lose their money. That is just my concern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ruth Soderbright.
I don't have a comment.
Okay. Nolan.
3974 West, 4100 North, Mackey, Idaho. My concern is, I think this is a seed being planted that the Biden administration could say, hey, this is and you people are making multi-millions of dollars off of it. Thank you.
Julie Wayne.
Julie Wing, 37, is that on that?
No.
3721 West Antelope Road in Moore. Having been a military spouse, we lived in many different parts of the country and saw many different things. One thing that sticks out in Georgia, we moved to a small community called Resaca, and the carpet mills had just moved and outsourced all their carpet mills overseas. And people were struggling. It was terrible. But there were these developers that moved in, and they bought up these plots of land and they put trailer houses on them. They were nice double wide trailers, and they were pretty easy to get into, and they looked like a good deal. But it took you missing 1 month of your rent, and you were gone. Whatever you had put into that trailer house as a down payment was gone. There was no house for you to go to. You had to move out. Also, after my husband's military career, we went to Utah for a little bit. We moved into a nice little community that had been zoned to have, you couldn't have less than 7 acres. It was a beautiful little community. And now when you go down there, it's high-rise apartments on every available spot of land because somebody on the zoning committee started taking federal dollars. And I went to zoning committee and I asked about this, and it started way back. And because you take money from somewhere else, then you lose the opportunity of deciding what goes on in your community.
Yeah.
And so that's something to take into consideration. Yes, I know what they have said, but we don't know what goes on in further times. We have to be aware that these things can turn south. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Wing?
Say it again.
Kevin Wing?
I'm right here. I'll be up in just a sec. Nice and warm, warmer in here than I expected it to be. I'm Kevin Wing. That was my wife who just spoke. We're on 3721 West Antelope Road. There in Moore, Idaho. A lot of people think we belong in the other county, but we are really in Butte County. I agree with a lot of the comments. My concern is there are no answers. I have not heard anything. I don't know if you have answers or not about the water, the sewer.
We will answer all those questions at the end.
Okay.
Yes.
What I didn't like is there was a thing that we could have gotten in the mail before we got here. I didn't see it until now, and everything is new to me. I could have written you several pages of my comments. But there's no way I could do it because there was nothing here. Like my wife said, we have been to many places. I have been to some board meetings, and they promised a whole lot of stuff. They never fully delivered. Now you guys, I will tell you, you look different than them. You're not the same as them, and I hope you will keep that. What happens when you make a decision and we don't like it? We don't like the answer. It's not good enough. Do we have a way to stop that? I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit forward on this. And I'll just say this not to pat myself on the back, but I was a level 5 engineer for Lockheed. And I was a captain in the Air Force doing engineering work. I have done projects. Lockheed does projects horribly. And I have to fix their problems. And as an engineer comes to me, it's never finished. It's never set down. I have to go through and make them work. I hope that is not going to be like this. I see a need for more housing. But $1,500 to me sounds a bit much for this area.
Mm-hmm.
And you will not get INL into here. Both they like Walmart. My brother Not my brother, my son in the Air Force went to INL for a year as
Okay,
participation.
Need to be done.
Well, there's no given, no time limit given.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
3 minutes. So,
Okay? Give me answers,
we will.
detailed answers.
Excuse me, I apologize for interrupting, but if y'all can answer these infrastructure questions before, this is like now, it would help us a lot to understand what's going on.
Right?
There we go, thank you. The rules don't allow a back and forth between you and the permittees.
Yeah.
So the answers will come, the permittees will answer the questions at the end.
I understand that, but a lot of our worries, our questions stem from that. If that could be answered first, that would help a lot.
Everybody gets to talk, and he stated at the start to not repeat what we're talking about. So if you have a problem with the infrastructure, just don't bring it up and we'll get done quicker. So everybody stand up and say infrastructure, water, like we just need to get through it. Like this.
A lot of people wouldn't be asking these questions if they were answered first, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, but they will answer everything at the end and don't repeat the question.
So the biggest question is the sewer and the water. The KOA is on city sewer and water.
And schools.
Schools,
But
traffic.
why are they if they're county and we're city?
Maybe just shut it down and let people talk.
Been writing these questions down, have you?
Okay, enough. Yeah. That answers the question. They're on city sewer and water. Why? I don't know.
But that wasn't the question. The question was, is it enough?
Now we cannot even begin to answer that question.
That is.
But we're not talking about approving a subdivision here or houses. We're talking about a conditional use permit. That's all we're talking about.
Totally against it, when it starts.
So,
Totally, there's no question.
Kelly, Amy?
Yeah, I live at 1408 Highway 33 in Howe, and all my concerns have been brought up.
Thank you. Next, Ken?
Yeah, I live at 3551 North Lost River Highway in Howe. And my biggest concern is I don't trust anybody coming in trying to build a thing that they're gonna make a lot of money off of people like us. Especially when they start out, come out with posters and covering our posters with people's names on them that didn't give their okay to have their names on there and stuff like that. You might be, I don't know who you got hired to do your stuff, but anyway, if you can't trust their advertisements to start out right with, how can you trust them to do what they say they're gonna do? That's why.
Yeah, let's clarify that. What are you talking about?
Well, I was told by one of your commissioners.
This one?
That one of you guys had your own thing, kind of announcing this deal. And then these people came out and put their poster, their signs with some of you guys' names on there.
So this
Is
was
that
the one
right?
that was released by Jody.
Huh?
This is the one that was released by Jody. This is the official
There was one that was
one.
released by Jody, and there was one that was not released by Jody.
That's
with
right.
Jody's name.
This was not released by Jody.
With Jody's name on it.
These guys do not know anything about
Okay,
this.
well, I'm just.
Yeah, we
You know,
would like to know who did
It
it.
all goes around, though, and like some of these other gentlemen says, they get a foothold in here, and it could turn government just like that. And then you will have no say whatsoever. That's all.
Thank you.
And besides that, we've got enough indigent people coming in here, and these guys are wanting $1,500 a month. There's not enough jobs to pay them.
Okay, Jeffrey and Joanne Dale?
My concern is the same as my friend Nolan here. That
Together.
About somehow, I didn't know what to expect when we came here, but somehow this would become a dumping ground for illegal aliens. I did not know what to think about this meeting. Here I am, and I'm trying to figure it out. That's my concern. The government is dumping illegal aliens all over the country, every state in the union. They had the governor of Montana on this morning, and he was complaining about all the illegals being dumped in his state. Well, they gotta go somewhere, it might as well be Arco. Okay, here we are. So that's my concern, same as my friend Noah.
Thank you. Paul Shutt.
2620 North US Highway 93, Arco, Idaho. I agree with Terry Williams.
Thank you. Nancy Shutt.
I'm his wife, 2620 North US Highway 93. I agree with everything that everybody has said because they're my concerns too. Don't want to get emotional. Everybody knows Atomic City. Do you guys know about Atomic City? Do you know why it was created? Atomic City was created back in 1954, 1955 with the great hopes of all the site workers coming there to live. It didn't work. They had places, but they only have a bar now. I know about that because my grandfather thought of buying that place years ago.
I can tell you about it because we own it.
Did you?
Thank you.
My question is, how are the people going to be vetted that supposedly live in these places? Like the gentleman said back here, these illegal aliens are coming, a parent and a child, just two people. They get $2,200 a month. You have a family of four. My God, that's $4,400 a month to be able to afford that. That's what would come in and fill those houses.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you. Scars. Stein.
George stayed close enough. 2436 North, 3000 West, Arco. I completely against, and I don't want anything that has to be compared to a trailer park in Blackfoot coming to Arco.
Tim Blade.
I live at 3133 North, and I'm totally against this thing because you're building these homes. Where are these people going to come? You don't have homes now. Where are they going to come from? I know where they're going to come from. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Nancy Blade.
That's me. I'm Nancy Blake. I live at 3133 North, 3350 West, in Moore. I have lived in Fifthville for 10 years at one time and traveled around and worked in campgrounds. I lived in a large campground community that also had modular homes in it. You owned the home before you put it into the mobile home park. Or into the RV park. I own my RV. I have thoughts of what I want for my neighborhood because I own my property or my RV and I don't want it destroyed by somebody over there that doesn't own theirs. They only rent. And you know how renters can be, right? But one of my questions is to the commissioners or the planning commission here is why does the county currently have a no more manufactured home thing where we have to do a special use in the first place? Why do we already have a rule in the commission or in the county that says we don't want manufactured homes here? They have property that is an RV park. They can expand their RV park. And if I want to bring in a mobile home into that RV park and pay rent to you, I'd be happy to do that. But I don't want to have somebody come in and say, I'm going to put a whole bunch of homes out there and we're just going to rent them out to like an Airbnb type of thing, where you have no idea who comes in and who doesn't, and they have no ownership whatsoever. And then the other thing is, will you have a manager on property taking care of the infrastructure? Will there be somebody there that person that is living in there can go to, like an RV park does, where you can go to the owner and ask them, hey, I don't have my water sewer's not working, that guy over there is leaking and it's coming all over my yard, And I need somebody that can control that area and have security, lights, snow removal, because mobile home parks and RVs do not like snow. They don't. I went to south with mine, and I worked north in the summertime, and I went south because the RVs don't like it. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandy Meyer?
Brandy Waymeyer, 2972 2400 North. Thank you guys for being here. I agree with everything Boone said, but I do want to add, like, I was born and raised here. I love and cherish our small community, and I've lived in this small community for 43 years for a reason, to keep it small.
Thank you. Christina Barnes?
Christina Barnes, 2981 Interstate Avenue. The development is literally right out my front door. We bought our house there because it has space in front of us, behind us, on the side of us, on the side of us. We bought it like that so that we didn't have to worry, so that our children could grow up roaming as they wanted on our property and being safe. Our well struggles as it is. Everybody on our street has had to seriously conserve water at times, not being able to water our lawns because of low water years. What is 20 more homes, 100 more homes going to do to my water?
Right.
I'm sucking sand as it is. So they want to pay 30 grand for me to get a new well, that's fine. But it doesn't help all the rest of the neighbors on my street. So water's a serious issue. We don't know these people from Adam, and we don't know what their true intentions are. I think that there are loopholes in everything. They can make all the promises in the world to everyone that they come across. They can do whatever they want once a contract is signed. They, as they stated before, have several developments across the nation, and so I'm sure that they've also discovered these loopholes. We do have needs for new housing, but let people have the opportunity to bring in their own wealth and create their own wealth. I want a safe community for my children. I want water for my neighbors. I don't want them to destroy the Ferris Slope because that is part of our history.
Yeah.
And like Boone said before, if Harvey was here, he'd give you an earful. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Pam Reamer?
Pam Reamer, I live on 2973 Interstate Avenue, and I agree with all my good neighbors, and I have the same problems they have on Interstate Avenue.
Thank you. David Solander?
3163 north, 3365 west, Moore. Most of my concerns have been brought up, if not necessarily addressed. Boone Barnes and Terry Williams probably most closely talked about where my concerns are at. I really enjoyed the comments about Atomic City. I do have one question. What do they anticipate these houses selling for people who are qualified to buy them?
Great question.
Okay, thank you. Howard Wood?
Howard Wood, 2326 north, 3000 west. Most of the questions have been answered, but when I first saw this when it came out, when it said $1,500, I've got 2 new homes that have been built out my front door pretty much. If you use a pencil, $1,500 a month times 12 is $18,000 a year times 30 year. If you got a 30-year loan, it's $500 and some odd thousand bucks. Anybody that can afford $1,500 a month rent can afford to build a home. Anybody that's vested in buying a home in Butte County is vested in the community. It adds to your tax base. I don't understand how the taxes work on a mobile home park, and I don't really understand how it's on city water and sewer. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Napoli?
Yeah, that's me. Well, I just want to say one thing. I moved in this town 5 years ago from the big city, Las Vegas, for peace and quiet, which I got. Thank you very much, everybody. And I want to know, I know I can address them, I'm addressing you. If any of these people will move in any of these fancy trailers, what they want to put in there. And I hope I get one answer by then. Thank you very much.
Thank you. James Waslow?
I'm James Oswald. I live in 2410 North, 3000 West. And I've been on many public committees that support growth, development. Concerns I have is, we're talking about a special condition permit that addresses something called a hybrid RV park. I searched Idaho code. There is no such thing as a hybrid RV park. You either have an RV park or you have a mobile home park. And there's codes for both. My question is, why are we talking about a hybrid RV park? Another concern I have deals with the irresponsible growth we're considering. I pulled the data for the state of Idaho. Major cities, 1.3% last year. Butte County, 1.3% last year. What we're talking about here, and by the way, the permit is based on 3 phases, not 1 phase for 20, 3 phases. What we're talking about here is potentially 100 homes. Put that into perspective, that's 44% growth for the city of Arco. For the county, it's a 14% plus growth. That's pretty irresponsible when right now we struggle with 1 to 2 to 3%. There are more things on infrastructure than water and sewer. There are social services, security, law enforcement. There's roads and ground services the city performs, garbage, things like that. I don't think, personally, I don't think that anyone has evaluated the impacts of that kind of growth in a 24-month period of time. That's what this conditional use permit is about. Those are the things that are stated in it, those 3 phases with potential to continue without revisiting it. If this is approved, they don't have to come back and revisit the conditional use for those 3 things. And I understand that this is not the authorization of a subdivision, which turns into more. But this is the conditional use permit for the property. So, and again, I agree with the other things that people have said. Thank you.
Thank you. So, conditional use permit only allows possibility of a manufactured home.
Understand.
Doesn't allow you to build one.
I understand. That's what I said.
It's just a possibility because it's not allowed in the county.
I understand. That's what I said.
Yeah. There's a whole nother series of hearings take place for an actual subdivision.
Again, my point was, why are we talking about only 20 and not the rest of the stuff that they put in it? If they wanted 20, they should have stayed at 20. Pardon?
Is there a reason why your name's on here twice?
So we can talk more. I get 6 minutes that way, right?
Lee Maroney?
2976 Interstate Avenue. The KOA is literally my fence line in the back. And I have animals, and I have concerns about them having all those homes back there. You're concerned about the septic system. Are you putting in septic tanks? Are you not? And the water, the wells. So those are some of my concerns with having that kind of thing right at my back fence.
Are you trying to pronounce my name? I'll give you a try.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. You can call me Bet. I'm Bet Rennie, 2976 Interstate Avenue.
Yes.
So my concern is similar. So I think everybody that lives in Arco, at least from my understanding, likes the idea of being able to have privacy and being away from so many people. If they wanted that, they moved to a bigger city. And what I really gleaned off of moving back from college is just having that sense of peace and zen. I really hate to have a huge metropolitan right in my back door. So, thank you.
Anthony Higgins?
He's not present.
He left, in other words.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joy Bates?
636 Decoria, my questions have been addressed.
Thank you. Angela Chapman?
437 Highway Drive, Arco, Idaho. My question's pretty much been answered also.
Kim Sanders?
310 South Idaho Street, because the KOA is on city water sewer. Who would pay for the new bond if there's ever a need for a new bond at $300,000 to $360,000 a year net, gross profit? Would it be the developer? Would it be the citizens of Arco? And what about the county landfill? It's already busting at the seams. What would be the outcome with that? Who would pay for a bond? What about the streets, which we've already addressed that, but I don't think the city of Arco residents want more higher fees.
Steve Glasso? Aldine Henderson?
354 Hayes Street, Arco. And my concerns have been addressed at the moment.
Thank you. I mispronounced your name, didn't I?
Steve Henderson.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. Lila Waslow?
I'm Lila Waslow, 2410 North, 3000 West. I'm the neighbor to the KOA. I'm on the left-hand side, south of the KOA. And my understanding of what they want to do, you're going to back them trailers right up to my fence. I have horses. Right now we have people that come over from the KOA to pet the horses. Next thing you know, they're walking across the yard. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous. I have dogs I have to worry about. And I also have two sisters that live in Blackfoot, and they totally disagree with what these gentlemen said. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter
Yeah, Peter Julian, 2994 West 2400 North. Yeah, me and my wife moved to Arco 5 years. I know some gentlemen here. I like the community, the people, but what I hear those gentlemen want to do with this community is not right. It's not right for those people. And we come in this community to have peaceful life. And I think it's not right for this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Joseph Christensen?
Back here, I'm a neighbor to Nolan Sarbright, but I had a whole list of questions. Can you hear me? I had a whole bunch of questions and most of them been answered. I appreciate the input. One other question that I haven't got though is for these things is where are all the jobs for these new residents? Community in Blackfoot, well, that's fine, but they're located near a bunch of cities where there might be more jobs. So, I have a lot of family up here in Butte County, so I'm concerned about what's going on.
Thank you. Butch and Sylvia Bybee?
Bugby.
Bugby?
Yeah.
Sorry.
From Howe, but Arco is our go-to town, so we were concerned and wanted to come and hear what was being proposed. And we are in agreement with everything that's been stated so far. Our concerns and questions have been answered.
And I'm Butch Bugby, and I agree with her, I won't have a place to live.
That goes in the record.
Strike that from the record.
Joni Pitcher?
Joni. I'm Joni Pitcher. I live at 700 Dean Avenue in Arco. I agree with both the Barneses. I fully agree with them.
Thank you. Kara Keller?
She did, she talked.
Michelle Pullen? Pohl?
Michael.
Michael Pohl? Sorry.
3400 North Moore. Most people here don't know me. I've been here 7 years. Everyone knows my wife, Jenna Jensen. We own 3 rental properties and a business here in Arco. We've actually had to lower our rent for one of our properties for people to live there. None of our rent goes over $750 a month. And we lower the rent because people who work here live in our properties and they just can't afford it. So I'll leave it at that and my wife take over.
Jenna Jensen, 3400 North and more, but I do have several properties here. And what I'd like to express to the committee today is something a little bit different. And it adds on what Michael said. As a property owner that has rentals, it comes in waves. I get people that'll call for 2 weeks and say, do you have something available? Do you have anything available? And then I won't hear anything for a while. I had people in one of my properties that worked out of the site. Problem was, they were seasonal. So yeah, they were making great money, but when they laid them off for 2 months, they were gone, and I was out. I couldn't find anybody else to get in that property that fast, and they just broke the lease. They don't care. They don't have work, so they can't stay. My problem with this is that most of the people that call me can barely afford the properties I have to rent. So these properties that these gentlemen are talking about, no offense intended whatsoever, but it's lip service. Y'all are businessmen. That's great. I'm a businesswoman. I know how it goes. I'm not gonna spend money to lose money. I'm gonna spend money to make money, but the difference is I live here.
Yeah.
This is my people. And if I have people coming in that are promising these things, lip service. Because you know what? The person up at the hospital promised us 5 years ago a new hospital. Do we have one?
No.
And we can't keep the providers up there because of that. So this community has a lot of issues, but this isn't gonna fix anything.
No. Yep.
Used car salesman.
Thank you. Sean Williams? Sean Williams?
Sean Williams, 3220 West, 2600 North. Just a comment. I'm sure the previous developers and Trevor Course didn't plan on looking.
Speak up, please, Sean.
Didn't plan on them looking like they do today. So I'm curious, how would we protect that and how would we move forward to prevent the current one supposed to not look like that? More examples would have been nice if these developments have been provided when they've done it, just, I guess, over the country. That would have been great instead of the one that's not completed. Just questions on, will any of the building permits cover the cost of any infrastructure upgrades? What's the estimated tax revenue to the county if this was to go through? Estimated long-term taxpayer maintenance cost, either the city or the county? Who maintains the utilities for the life of this? If it's in the county and it's not part of the city, does that mean the homeowners there within their HOA have to take care of it, or is it become a maintenance project for the city? Do we have the staff and the personnel to take care of that? Also, to the zoning committee, what's the requirement for long-term RV housing? A lot of communities only have a 30-day limit. They don't allow RVs to stay long-term. So that might be something to look at as well, as RVs over 30 days. Thank you.
Eric Sneed? That's been wrong. Last call.
Looks like you left.
Nick Bingham?
He's coming.
Can I just stand here? I gotta go there.
Just speak up.
Sean says I have to. All right. So just like my point of view is $1,500 a month. It's like you guys are tripping. Like nobody here pays that much for their mortgage. I'm pretty sure, and we have acreage, not like stacked house, stacked, living. Also, like if they're like on the city water and sewer, so these people are gonna be outside of the city, and we have all these volunteer EMTs and fire department. So wouldn't that make like an extra stress on our community for our volunteers? Like 100 houses, that's gonna be like 300 people or more, So like under those things, like why make two parties rich while we all suffer?
Thank you. Nick Bingham?
That was me.
Oh, that was you.
Oh, you're talking about my wife, Kirsten.
No.
She was after me.
I was really looking for Eric Sneed.
Yeah.
And he left. Okay. Kirsten, do you want to say something?
Sure. Hi everybody. It's my birthday, by the way, but I I'm sorry, I really care.
You address me and me only.
It is my birthday, Mr. Person.
Happy birthday.
I'm happy to be
Happy
here.
birthday.
Thank you. I would just like to echo what everybody else is concerned about and also just say if you don't want to move into a community that doesn't want you, then nice to see ya.
Leslie Randall.
I think she left. Actually, I think she left.
Devon Signor.
Oh, Devin.
That's Devin Signor, 929 County Road, Arco, Idaho.
Good.
Kitty Corners at KOA. I think I've heard most of the questions that I am concerned about asked. I haven't heard them answered. But I am also kind of concerned about what happens to KOA. I'm not certain a lot of people are going to come back to KOA after they've stayed at it. If there's a bunch of homes around the perimeter of it or something. And KOA brings a lot of income into this area. I mean, Pickles and A&A and the other restaurants in town. If that gets degraded, I think that's going to cause us to suffer.
Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Signor, 99 County Road, and most of my concerns have been voiced. One of the concerns is that the area they plan to put the trailer park, it floods every spring, and if they fill that in, then where is all that water going to go? The other concerns I have, because of the other article that went out, it said that there's smalling pirates and MS-13 is going to move in there, and that's happened a lot in a lot of other trailer parks. I do not want those people anywhere near my family. Also, these type of communities, no matter how nice you make the houses, it depends on the people that moves in, which then could also cause a higher rate of death and crime, which means the police have to come out more. Drug abuse, alcoholism, smoking. There's a lot of kids on the street. There's a lot of farm tractors that go down the street practically all year round. And in the wintertime, when it's plowed, we have a little more than a one-lane road. So a lot more people is going to make it a lot more harder to drive up and down the road.
Good. Thank you. Colette Atwood.
2210 north, 3200 west, 3220 west. I've a lot of concerns. If they're looking for affordable housing, it's all over in Idle Falls, if you haven't noticed. It's everywhere in Idle Falls. They have plenty of it, they can go there.
Yeah.
We don't need it here in Arco. Investors, I've worked with developers and investors before, and they're only there for their own selves, they're not for the communities, they're only to pad their own pockets and to take care of their own investors that are from out of our area and they could care less about us. I don't want to have the increase in crime, and I don't want to be a dumping ground. I oppose it.
Thank you. Steve Atwood.
Steve Atwood, 2210 north, 3220 west, Arco, Idaho. For the last 10 years, I've watched as we filled apartments. We fill them from out of town, and with those people come a higher crime rate. We don't need that in Butte County. Other than that, I agree with everything that's been said so far.
Kimber Tolson. Left. Billy Norton.
Speak loud.
So I'm supposed to just address you?
Yes, please.
All right, sir. So I would just like to look deeper about these two gentlemen. I have done research. Mr. Adams actually lives in Indianapolis, but he doesn't have a house in Idaho Falls, okay? He's not here to care about us, okay? These guys are part of the Alpine Capital Solutions Group. Mr. Ramel is over the operations and financing for the Team Alpine, and they make mega money. I'm telling you what, it's an honor to see you, because I watch your videos. You are $1 million a month income, don't you? They don't care about us.
Address me.
So, you know what? You better think long and hard, because you're going to be sitting on those houses.
Thank you. Okay, that's all the testimony. Any questions from the board about that, please? People that testifies. Any clarification?
They made it clear.
Okay, so we're gonna try to answer the questions. We talked about the sewer and the water, the city, that's a city issue. Whether the city wants to take that on or not, that's their decision. That's something that they'll have to negotiate with. I'm not sure about the tax base. How that goes, whether they're taxed or not, property tax. I assume if they're on foundations, they have property tax.
It depends on how, it would depend on the approval process and how it can get structured by the county. That would depend on the county.
It's stated that if it's in a floodplain, which that is in a floodplain, that they are required to be on a foundation.
I get back to the Idaho
Each
code.
individual.
Yeah.
So are these prepared to put them all on foundations?
Are they?
Yeah, I assume that was your plan, on foundations.
It wasn't. No, it wouldn't be on permanent foundation.
You couldn't do it.
And it would be a manufactured home community, not a manufactured home park.
Okay, the roads is a county issue. Whether it remains in this county or the city, that depends on whether the city annexes them in. There's really no way to know how that's gonna work. So that if you were to sell the homes, you don't sell the real estate with them, you just sell the home.
You sell the homes are chattels, so they're titled individually, like an RV or a trailer. They're titled separately.
It's not the real estate underneath.
No.
Why don't we show our hands of who's approved and who disapproved of this?
We've already done all that. We've already done all that. And
We have shown hands?
no, everybody that's testified has testified.
The answer's aren't any good.
What's the tally?
The answers aren't any good.
We'll get to that point. It's gonna take a few minutes. If we decide that tonight, we'll get to that point. If we don't, we'll put it off until next time. So, Kevin, your remedy for appeal is just to the county commissioners.
So you're gonna send me a mail with all the answers and your decisions so that I can appeal it to the county commissioners? Is that
No,
what you're gonna do?
no.
So how can I appeal something I'm not given? I don't have the information on, how can I appeal that?
It'll be in the paper, just like the notice was.
No. I thought you were gonna answer the questions now.
There was a notice in the paper. It is required by law that it is in there for 3 weeks prior to the meeting. So if you read the local newspaper, it's in there as a legal notice.
But just like Mr. Kemick just stated, it's in a floodplain.
homes are required to be on a foundation if it's in a floodplain. They have no plans of putting them on foundations, period, blank, done.
So that's done.
So they can't put them there.
And is it not required to have insurance for a floodplain?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it more expensive?
And who pays it? And who pays it? The renter or who pays it?
That's not
Is there any way around that?
I don't think there is.
So I don't know how there's any moving forward if they're not willing to put them on foundations, which then becomes more of a real property.
Okay, there was a question about the comprehensive plan. It was talking about why we do what. And why, and that's because, according to the comprehensive plan. That plan was published, and we had a hearing on it, and it changes every few years, and it's a public document. The building permits stays with the building permit money stays with the county. And RVs are permitted practice in that particular area. So
RVs, not mobile.
that's right. RVs are allowed in Transact. I don't know where the hybrid comes from. I know that's what he said, but
I researched it, and there is no definition for a hybrid RV park anywhere.
yeah. But I didn't think we were. Is there someplace that you got that from, Jim, that it's hybrid?
Yeah, it's in the letter you put out.
Yeah. You know how She brought with the word hybrid.
I apologize. I was wrong. Sorry, any other questions you wanted to answer? Anything else you wanted to say?
No. Whoa. No.
Whose questions didn't get answered?
Can I clarify something?
Yes.
Didn't you say the county does not, has laws against or ordinance against trailer parks in the county? Did you not say that at first?
It does.
So why are we even entertaining this idea?
This comprehensive plan goes beyond that. This authorizes it to be in the county. And that's why. It takes
So you're wanting to change the county ordinance, that's what's happening, that's what they want to do, is change the county ordinance?
They don't change it.
It doesn't change this.
It doesn't change the ordinance. It just allows it.
Oh, so it's an exception.
Yeah, conditional use.
Conditional use, that's not.
And do disagree.
Okay, so one of the questions, just so I can clarify, it's not the comprehensive plan, it's in the zoning ordinance. We're in the process of updating those. There are things that when the zoning ordinances were done back in 1999, when planning and zoning was developed, there were certain things that were just not needed. That's why a mobile home park is not in there. It's not in Transact, it's not in commercial. That is zoned commercial. We're in the process of changing those. So that's why we have to have this special meeting just so that this one time that can be changed. So the next person that comes in would have to do the exact same thing until we physically change it in the ordinance. And it's not there.
We don't necessarily want to change it in the ordinance.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, that's why it's not there. Like storage units in a commercially zoned area are not allowed. But someone had come to us, wanted to do a conditional use permit. It never ended up happening, they didn't, but they needed to ask special permission for that to be done because it has not been changed. So just.
Kevin was first. Kevin Wing had his hand up first.
Well, I don't think the answers were valid. We've been here for over an hour and a half, or and it took 5-10 minutes to go through the answers.
Mm-hmm.
That is not enough. If you want to contact me, I will collect your questions that you have, and I will send them to the county commissioners. My email is eternalglorymore@hotmail.com, or you can message me on my phone, 801-745-7003, and I'll do what I can sending your questions forward.
What question do you have?
We'll go forward with what I've got so far.
But you must have a question.
I have a slew of questions in my phone that I could not give because I was limited by 3 minutes. I am not going to go any further than that.
Okay. Christina was first.
So I just would like to know, everybody had their chance to say what they wanted to say. And then these guys were given an opportunity to address us again, maybe to make us feel more at ease, maybe to kind of help answer some of those questions. They stated like, we don't care, you say yes, we're gone, you never have to hear from us again. We don't care. But that's not what we want as a community. We want somebody that comes in and cares. We want somebody that wants to say,
Yes.
we want to be here. We want to be part of you. And they don't have that passion. And if they're not willing to stand up and say, we'll answer you. We will give you the answers that you want. We're not going to give you lip service. That's what's important to us. And if you can't recognize that from sitting in this meeting for 2 hours, see ya. Get up.
So, I appreciate that. I'm born and raised in Eastern Idaho. My dad's from Teton. I do want to give you just a little bit of context on how this process worked in Blackfoot. I showed up to planning and zoning. I said, hey, we're trying to do 38 homes. They sent a notice. We had one person show up. She said, hey, I live on Minor Street. I'm worried about people pulling out and the headlights are going to flash in my front window. That's it. And so I said, you know what? We will just move that exit 20 feet down to make sure we don't hit you on Minor Street. So the entire planning and zoning process was really for us to kind of see, what does the community say? What is the temperature? I showed up to Blackfoot, one person. She said, hey, as long as you're not pulling out in my living room, great. And I have to compliment this town because I've never seen a town like the way you rally. I go out to the rodeo in Mud Lake, and like this, it's what it feels like the community rallies. And so I just want to compliment you regardless of all of this stuff. The fact that you have this much passion for your community, I mean, hell, it makes me want to get my kids out of Idaho Falls. It has nothing to do with this, but I just want to tell you how impressed I am.
Thank you.
My 10-year-old might be a felon. I'm a little worried about him, but I got really good kids otherwise. But I just want to let you know personally how impressed I am with the way this community's come out. Because the city of Blackfoot, I had one person.
Thank you.
And we'll close the meeting here in a minute, and then we'll decide what we're going to do. Jim?
Just one comment on what was just addressed. I went online and I read the planning and zoning minutes from the Blackfoot meeting, and I read the list of people that opposed the development in Blackfoot. There was more than one person by far turned out, and they actually listed their names and who opposed. Just to correct the record.
Very good.
In the back.
I just want to say something. This valley would love to have employment growth for the people of here and our children.
Yes.
We do not want population growth.
Yes, there was a question.
Okay, just a second, Judy. We'll get you there.
The question about if there was going to be someone locally who was going to be managing those sites, like for snow removal and for repairs, is someone going to be in this town that's going to be a part of that team, that's going to care for the tenants that are going to live there?
Yeah, there's an existing staff that live local that work at the KOA year round because they sell, they keep the store open, they sell propane, they sell firewood, so.
So that's one and the same then?
Well,
that.
yeah, there would be staff on site.
Perfect, thank you.
No, Jim volunteers to go
Okay, Judy?
and do the snow.
I have a question. The plan right now is for the whole KOA. What's to keep it from becoming an RV park and a mobile home park? What is that possible to be done without the community's input?
No, it requires more hearings. Okay, go ahead.
Has the city agreed that they're gonna take on the water sewer
No.
issues if?
There's no way to stipulate that. That's a city decision.
And we shouldn't make the decision without the city's approval.
Exactly.
So I have one question.
Just a second.
But then as a
So-
county can do it themselves.
I mean, you're just saying it's gonna be the city's problem.
If they decide to take it on, it is their problem.
The city has an engineer, and if the plan was approved, it would go to the next step, which would be the city engineer goes through and decides, do we have what is capable of sustaining this? And that would be differently.
Okay, there was a hand right here. Shelley.
My name's Shelley Blackner. I've lived here my whole life. I just want to clarify on the publication of the notices and all the things. I'm a county official and I take great pride in that the county strives to keep all of you informed. I have been so happy to see all of you here caring for our community, because we all do, old friends and new friends. I just want to state that the law states that those publications have to be in 3 places. Commissioner notices, this type hearing notices. We go above and beyond. We post them in every county building. We post them in every post office, how, ARCO, more. We post them in wherever we feel like is going to be a need for someone to see. And we also post them in the local paper. I post my commissioner agenda in 8 different places. I'm only required to do it to 3, and we post it on our website. So there are a lot of places where you can go to find that information. And if you ever are having a hard time finding information, or you feel like it wasn't publicized correctly, please let us know, and because we can't fix it if we don't know. So if you're not aware of something, please let us know. Thank you.
Okay. There's a hand right here.
Yes. This property falls within the area of impact. The area of impact agreement is still standing. That would require a meeting amongst us with a mixed board. We've already talked about this. I'm not here to rein in. Per the area of impact agreement, any conditional use permit is also required to be submitted to the city for review and approval. I'm not here to try to say yay or nay on your guys' process. You guys make your decision, make your recommendations. We would just respectfully request that the application be provided to the city so that we can weigh in and give our input to the commissioners. That's it.
Thank you. Jenna.
Is there any way that you can guarantee that they won't allow for housing vouchers in Section 8? Because as far as I'm aware, as a landlord, it's the landlord's discretion. The government cannot dictate who I allow to rent my property and if they're under Section 8 housing. So do you have a plan in place to make sure that that's not an issue with this development?
No.
No, of course not.
Ben? Boone. Oh, Boone.
I think one thing we've learned tonight is that, and I love your comment and thank you. I loved it because I felt it from your heart. One thing we have to understand is we are united in this. You guys have to realize I do this for a living. People are coming. They're coming and they're not going to stop. We have got to get this under control now so that we don't have to come up against this again. We can figure it out. And I think we need more public meetings, and I think we need to decide together.
Yes.
Like, it's not just one person, 2 people, 3 people, like, this has been wonderful. Did you hear how many good comments are up here? Like, this is what we need. And this has renewed my faith in my community, which I always knew it was here, but sometimes it takes a dragon to get us out. Right?
At some point, we've got to end this, so Jim,
One
last
little
time.
question. If that property was zoned city today, would we be having this discussion?
You'd be having it with the city.
The city has their own planning and zoning?
They do.
So.
They have their own rules, their own regulation. They do things, might we do things different we do.
So then the long-term determination of the future of the property is important to be decided before this is decided.
Well, that has been decided in the comprehensive plan.
It's in the impact area, but it hasn't been decided, to my knowledge, if it's going to be.
There's a
annexed.
dispute about the impact area, whether there's one in effect or not.
I understand.
How can like county, and so it's in county, but it's city sewer and water?
Yeah.
Can't they just make their own sewer and their own water in the county?
I don't understand how that works, so how, can you?
That's an agreement the city is taking on to take on property outside the city limits.
So because of that, that's where it collides. Two units needing to come together with an agreement, because
Yeah,
their city and
they would
sewer
have to have
is your property.
they would have to have an agreement with the city in order to come on.
So they still gotta go deal with the city.
Right here in the blue blouse.
Okay, one question I have, being a fairly newbie to the community, one of the reasons why that I moved here was because of the smallness of the town, but also it was what I could afford. And when prices are so high that the average person on Social Security can't afford, and we only have one small unit, I shouldn't say small, it is really large, that does cater to low-income families.
No, we have two.
Got two?
We're wrong with.
Hi, I'm Alan Zimmer. I own the KOA. We have been on city water and sewer at that park since the 80s when it was a trailer park. That's what it was initially. Then they made it an RV park, and it stayed on city water and sewer. I'm paying well over $500 a month for this privilege. So, you all can scoff all you want to, but it's costing me to be on city water and sewer. Aaron has got some darn good plans for this place. He's an honest man.
I pay $100 a month myself.
Good.
I mean,
I pay
$500
$500
for a whole park.
All right.
I'm only open 6 months out of the year.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
anything
man
else?
has had some good plans for this place.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
To give you a good retirement.
I'm already retired. Yeah, what's
Nothing. Well, somebody else offered you a lot less. Somebody else.
Okay, we're not gonna talk about it.
A lot of times it's good to turn and look backwards at things. In this case, looking for what does the community need, and I don't actually think it's that hard. Folks on the board should be able to see what we need. You need something that, if somebody came in and they said, oh, here's something for $700 or something that maybe your kids could find a job here and stay here, or something like that. The question, well, these fellows, who can blame them if they want to come in and make some money? And I don't think they really realize that this community can't really afford that. If Premier built a big shop here, then all of a sudden maybe the conversation had changed. It really should be obvious that what the deal is this really isn't serving the community. It might serve whoever comes in, and those folks will make some money, which I don't really blame them for wanting to make money. But it doesn't really serve us, and I think you folks are in the business of making sure that it serves the community, which would be the lesser income, which would be just supporting infrastructure, make sure the taxes are being paid, so that the load's a little lighter for everybody. And that doesn't appear to be here, so I'd ask you to consider that.
Thank you. Order enough?
Did we want to give this individual one last, Alaska hat there?
Okay.
Yeah, I come in a little late or something, didn't say nothing. My name's Ray Hamilton, I live in the back of that place.
We're on interstate also.
And, yeah, 2972 Interstate. I've almost been burned out twice, and both fires come out of that place. And it didn't make me very happy.
It was years ago.
Yes, it was, way before you were here.
Yeah, long before us.
So, I just don't have any warm fuzzy over this at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Just one more comment.
Terry? Yes.
I've tried to help people with Section 8 housing vouchers, and it's only available in 34 of the 44 counties. I don't think Butte County is one of them, and I wish Jenna hadn't left. I don't know, do you guys know?
Yeah, we do now.
Yeah, you can't have too many engineers
I'm just trying to
in.
allay people's fears. There's enough fear in the world.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Seeing none, we're declare the hearing closed. There'll be no further testimony offered. No one can address the commission after this time. It's not required that we make a decision at this time. What's the wishes of the board? Who wants to be first?
I wish to defer it to.
It's been 2 hours.
Yeah, here.
Okay.
I agree.
Next board meeting?
Can we schedule it earlier in the month?
Next Tuesday?
Tuesdays, but Wednesday's the 27th.
I can't do the 26th. I can probably do Wednesday night.
The 27th.
What is, you're talking about next month?
No,
They're not
Next Wednesday, no.
Next week?
I cannot be here on Tuesday.
We don't wanna wait a month.
Okay. Is that the consensus of the board?
Next Wednesday?
Next
Wednesday the 27th?
6:30 p.m.
6:30?
At 6:30? 6:30?
Everybody's in agreement?
Yes.
Okay, we'll table it until next Tuesday, Wednesday,
Wednesday
at 6:30. Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming.
Is that a public meeting?
It is. All our meetings are public.
Announce it loud.
6:30 next Wednesday.
Here.
Here.
It is a public
Okay.
meeting. What is it?
It is a